Reviews.
Hi, welcome to Troubadour's videos. Today we're going to have a look at EVGA's GTX 295 Co-op Edition graphics card. And here is the new EVGA GTX 295 Co-op Edition card from EVGA. Let's take it out of the box and see exactly what comes with this. Here is our driver package. Inside our driver package we have our installation guide, case decal and driver CD, as well as a Xeno Pro flyer. In the front of the package we have a 6-pin power adapter, an 8-pin power adapter, SP-Diff audio hookup cable, HDMI adapter, and a VGA adapter. Let's have a look at the main card itself and take this out of the packaging. And here is the new GTX 295 Co-op Edition graphics card. Let's take a closer look at this card and compare it to the regular standard GTX 295. The GTX 295 Co-op does come with the usual 6-pin and 8-pin power connectors. Beneath these decals are the two GPUs air-cooled with this huge 90mm fan. On the back of the card you have the SLI connection, which lines up perfectly for linking two GTX 295s for game crunching quad SLI performance. The Co-op Edition also comes with two factory installed backplates. These have been installed to assist in the cooling of the memory chips, which are now being relocated to the back of the PCB. On the back connection plate we have two DVI hookups, as well as a large exhaust vent taking up the place of the second expansion slot. Let's have another look at that humongous 90mm fan and compare the cooling differences between the single and dual PCB varieties. On the GTX 295 Co-op single PCB card, cool air enters the centrally located 90mm fan, where air is displaced across the air-cooled heat sinks and exhausts on opposite ends of the graphics card. Whereas with the GTX 295 dual PCB, cool air enters the end of the graphics card, displaced through the huge copper and aluminum air block and vented out the back and side of the graphics card. Comparing both GPUs back to back, there are lots of component and cosmetic changes to the GTX 295. One of the biggest and best cosmetic alterations is the change from the old VHS cassette style look to a more modern looking product. Either way though, some people liked it and some people hated it. Both the Co-op Edition and the original dual PCB GTX 295 are back-to-back compatible, so both these cards can be linked together using these SLI ports to provide you with some quad SLI craziness. Let's install the GTX 295 Co-op card and the GTX 295 dual PCB version on the test bench and see how these monsters compare in both synthetic and game-based benchmarks. And the first benchmark today is 3D Mark Vantage. As we go through the benchmark, you will see a great deal of info and data, so feel free to pause or rewind as needed. As we go through the benchmark, observe the fraps counter on the top left corner. The FPS delta of these cards is minor at best and rarely strays from 1 to 2 frames per second. Obviously, if we overclock the co-op to match the dual PCB frequencies, these cards would probably be parallel in performance on this benchmark. The first notable difference is the clock speeds or frequencies of these cards. Interesting to note that the co-op edition has been downclocked slightly from the dual PCB's stock clock of 594 MHz to 576 MHz. Similar slight downclock with the card's memory. As we get into the more intense and demanding aspect of this benchmark, check out the temperature delta between these configurations. The co-op GPU does appear to run significantly cooler than the dual PCB flamethrower. This difference will definitely have a positive effect on both card longevity and potential overclock capacity. Also check out the wattage consumption of both configurations. At some points they almost seem to mimic each other. So what is the end impression, conclusion and result of the GTX 295 Co-op Edition graphics card? Well, the results for both the graphics cards, the dual and single PCB, are very similar in all game-based and synthetic benchmarks that we ran today. Performance, cost and energy consumption are on par with both these variations of the beastly GTX 295. Some of the pros of the GTX 295 Co-op Edition graphics card is the much more effective air cooling block design, as well as for us water cooling enthusiasts, a much simpler process of installing a water block. Which brings me to the next topic. Although I didn't demonstrate the overclocking potential of this GPU today, I will be conducting a water block install and overclocking comparison, so please keep an eye or check back for this comprehensive demonstration. Thanks again for watching Troubadur's videos. I wish to thank you guys who post comments and rate these videos, especially my subscribers. However, feel free to subscribe if you wish to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in gaming and PC hardware. Thanks again and take care.